Elves are a little boring. We were all thinking it, right? I mean, sure, they used to be cool. Back when I first got into the fantasy genre, elves were amazing. You had Legolas, Master of Archery, Enchantingly Beautiful, all that. That's like the quintessential Tolkien elf, and that spawned countless imitations and lookalikes. But somewhere along the line, I feel like elves lost something. They went from cool, aloof, and graceful to boring, bland, dime a dozen. And that's kind of a problem for me. Because I'm making a TTRPG and it needs elves. What kind of fantasy TTRPG doesn't have elves? So I needed to do something about this. I sat down and I got to thinking. And I thought, what if I redesigned elves? What if I made them accentuate my setting? What if their eternal lives and beauty were robbed from them, and what if it was their fault? So, let me tell you a little bit about my elves. The elves, originally native to the planet Zinris in the Thesh system, are characterized by their long ears, pale bluish skin, and tall stature. Another obvious characteristic of an elf is their plentiful body modifications. These modifications are due to the elves' centuries-old curse and have become a staple part of their culture. This curse, brought on ages ago by a feud with the elven god, renders elves decrepit and decaying, constantly withering and malnourished. It also makes all elves sterile and incapable of reproduction. Without intervention, an elf would only live around 30 Earth years, and the elven race would be wiped out within half a decade. Luckily for them, the elves boast among their ranks an incredible number of scholars, scientists, and magical engineers, and were able to come together to find a solution to their predicament. The elves found that though their bodies were weak and decaying, the machine was strong and steady. Replacing flesh with metal proved an effective means to stave off their inevitable end. Yet they still faced another issue. Even if they lived long lives, their race could not continue after their deaths. So the elvish scientists devised a method of cloning the strongest among them, ensuring that they could continue and propagate themselves among the stars. This would all be fine, save for the steep price of the technology: 10 bodies for each clone. Naturally, the elves were unwilling to sacrifice themselves, and so their reign of terror began. The scourge of the stars, they are constantly on the hunt for more corpses to feed their cloning machines. They conquer and enslave planets to use their population as fuel for their eternal empire, ever hungry and never sated. Elves live in hate of their condition and wish for nothing more than the end of their curse. Until that day comes, however, they will be content to rule the Orion Cygnus arm as warlords and conquerors.